Ben sizi alayım oradan. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session, panel that we are doing. We are going to talk about winning in a turbulent travel economy using the power of data and technology. I have two distinguished panelists, which we had the pleasure of hosting them at the University of South Florida before. My name is Professor Cihan Cobanoglu from the M3 Center for Hospital Technology and Innovation at the University of South Florida. I see that some people are joining us live. So for those of you who are here listening, if you write please on the comment on YouTube or Facebook that you hear the sound nice and clearly, that would help me a lot. While you are doing that, I would like to invite our distinguished panelists. First, I would like to invite Mr. Ali Beklen, who is the co-founder of HotelRunner company. Ali, welcome.
Hey, hello. Hello, everybody.
Thank you. And also, I would like to invite Mr. Arden Agopyan, who is also co-founder of HotelRunner company. Arden, welcome also.
Hello. Hi.
Wonderful. That's great. And we are hearing from our audience that people are hear us nice and clearly. Thank you to Sedan and Gözde for letting us know. So the title of our panel is Winning in a Turbulent Travel Economy Using the Power of Data and Technology. So before we start talking about, this is a compact panel, so 30 minutes for the discussion. We just did the Turkish version earlier. There was a lot of interest from people. Therefore, we had to extend it. If there will be the similar interest, we will also do that a little bit as well. But before I start our questions for my panelists, I would like to ask them to introduce themselves and their company very briefly. Ali, can I start with you, please?
Sure. First of all, thanks for inviting us, and thanks for giving us this chance. We are always willing to share our knowledge and our view during the COVID process, and we would like to really share all the information that we have in the company during the digital mediums and also through different webinars as well. So my name is Ali. I'm the co-founder of HotelRunner. So I have plenty of experience in technology space. I spent some time for IBM, and then I worked with financial industry very closely, and then I co-founded HotelRunner 8 years ago to help small, medium-sized accommodations to convert their businesses from offline to online and to manage their international and local sales from one platform. And also from the academic point of view, I'm a computer engineer. I have a degree in economics, and as well as I'm trying to complete my PhD in the computer science.
Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome, Ali. Arden, how about you?
I'm a computer engineer as well, originally. We have met with Ali in IBM, and we have decided to change the future of the travel industry together. And we have co-founded HotelRunner together 8 years ago. Now we are holding the pulse of the travel industry through our technology platform that we are distributing worldwide. From an academic career perspective, I am a computer engineer, and I have a business management MBA degree, and also I am a PhD candidate in financial engineering. From a professional career perspective, I worked in different technology companies, global technology companies. Also, I worked 7 years in IBM in different positions and different roles, spanning from technology to sales. And 8 years ago, as I mentioned, we have co-founded HotelRunner.
So much. You both are very successful entrepreneurs, and you also visited our university and gave a speech here, which I still remember, and I still ask my students to watch the recording. So, Ali and Arden, as you know, there is a world before Corona and after Corona, BC and AC, right? So this is interesting times for our industry. So we have heard from a lot of industry partners that the hotel reservations and travel in general in the world was expected to be a star gold year before Corona. People were expecting, World Travel Tourism Organization were predicting that we're going to have more than 1.5 billion visitors. And you may remember in 2015 was the first day a year that we exceed 1 billion. So they were hopeful. And Turkey, in specifically Turkey, they were expecting 50 million visitors. But today we are talking in a very different world. We know that, again, based on our industry partners telling us that 90% of the reservations are canceled. My son, as a Marriott employee, was laid off temporarily because his hotel was closed. So, and now we hear that the occupancy rate are 10%, at least in America. And those, that 10% of the hotels that are open, as you know, many hotels have actually closed up. So this is not a very pleasant situation to be. And what I would like to ask you is to tell us, and you represent, HotelRunner represent almost 40,000 hotels in 190 plus countries. So you have the data. And of course, as we have said, the title of our panel is Winning in a Turbulent Travel Economy, Using the Power of Data and Technology. So you are going to speak to us by using your data. But can you please tell us what is happening today in that almost 40,000 hotels in 190 countries that you represent? Please give us a snapshot of today.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at the industry today, they are mostly speaking about, as you perfectly said in the beginning of your speech, about post-COVID and pre-COVID economy. However, what we believe in HotelRunner, we need to spend a lot of time to understand what's happening right now, what's happening today, because the pulse of the industry. If you look at the industry, we are in a very dynamic situation. Everything, all parameters, all numbers are changing, even on a daily basis. So we have obviously different answers for different parts of the world. If you start from Asian market, especially the Southeast Asia, we are seeing that the recovery has been started, especially for domestic travels. If you look at Thailand, Taiwan, or some part of even China, the domestic travel has started to recover, and some hoteliers' occupancy rates even today they are seeing 40-45% occupancy rates, which is very nice comparing with the 5% and almost 0%. And if you look at US, we have many properties using HotelRunner today from US. Obviously, comparing with the previous months, the occupancy rates are low. However, comparing with the other countries who doesn't have any kind of travel, including domestic, US here has the upper hand. We are still seeing 15-20% occupancy rate coming from domestic travelers. However, if you look at the property types, comparing with the before COVID, the higher occupancy rates are mostly happening in much more spacious, isolated daily rentals, vacation rentals, or service apartment space. So the most of the traffic actually is going there. The big hoteliers are getting impacted here the most, even from the US perspective. If you look at some other emerging countries, especially Latin region, South America, the Brazil and the Mexico here, obviously their occupancy rates are going down, but comparing with the Europe and some part of Africa, they are still performing very well comparing with the other regions. The one of the most vulnerable and affected region, to be honest, is the Europe. So we have many properties. They almost shut down today. However, The good thing is I know that we will be talking about future, but what European properties are doing better comparing with the other regions is they are still thinking their operations. They are still spending a lot of time for post-COVID operations. So most of the other regions they had much more longer shock period. They didn't touch anything. They didn't do anything. They spent more time to understand what's happening. What we are calling internally is a shocking time. The European properties here performed better than some other regions. They spend less time, less shocking time, and now they're spending more time to design, to predict, to actually build their, the post-COVID business models.
Wonderful. So, you are giving us somewhat good news because the coronavirus have started in China and Asia. So it takes its way to Europe and then America, kind of like at the same time almost. And it's like a tornado when I used to live in Oklahoma. So tornado, when it comes, it destroys where it passes. But after that, you see life. So what you are telling us that we have seen the signs of life, because a lot of people currently are pessimistic about the hotel industry or tourism industry in general. So you tell us that it's getting better and better. So we have about 50 live audience right now, which I thank all of them. So for those of you who are watching live, please feel free to write your questions into the comment box wherever that you are watching this. We are streaming this in multiple different locations, and I will be happy to ask our panelists those questions a little bit later. So you talk about today, and I would like to take this question into next level, and I would like to ask you, what do you think about the future? What is going to happen? Today is like this. Do you see, based on the data, again, that almost 40,000 hotels from 190 countries, what is going to happen? Are we going to be like this forever? Or is there any signs of survival or coming back? What do you think about that?
I would like to talk based on our data in HotelRunner, which is also based the data of more than 38,000 properties from all over the world, 193 countries. I can clearly say that there is a comeback after August, based on the actual guest sentiment. So the guests are keen to make reservations for the periods after August, and especially for November and December, for the Christmas time frame. There is a strong comeback. So people are optimistic. They are still making reservations. They are somehow also taking deals from the hotels in order to get better, let's say, deals and better positions, etc. So we clearly see that there's a positive reaction when there are some positive news on the news channels. So everything is driven by the news. We are following our data on a daily basis, and we are taking decisions on a daily basis, and everything is changing on a daily basis. Today, I'm saying here that after August we will have a strong comeback, but tomorrow something may happen, and it can be June, or something can happen. It may be December. That's why it's a very turbulent travel economy now, and we have to position ourselves. Looking to the data, looking to the sentiment of the guests, and looking to the trends.
So I would like to also add one more comment from my side. We see a very good traffic for November timeframe for resort areas. This data is helping resort hotels or leisure hotels to actually expand their season to cover the November timeframe. As you know, most of the seasonal hotels are shutting down at the end of October. But this data is also clearly, showing us that there's a huge demand for November timeframe for seasonal hotels. So what we are advising to our resort hotels through our platform is, let's consider let's consider expanding your season to cover the November timeframe to not to lose the existing demand.
Thank you so much. We are going to take into the questions, but let me just ask you one quick question. Out of the 38,000 hotels that you are helping distribute their inventory, how many percent, in your opinion, are open? Because remember, we said 10% occupancy rate, at least in America right now, of the hotels that are open, because many of them closed doors and they went home. Just like, as I told you, my son was working at Marriott in Colorado. So what is that going on right now? How many percent are active currently in your inventory that you're serving?
What we see is actually 20 to 30% of the hotels are active. Depending on the region, they are planning to open their properties after mid-May, or by they are planning to open by the beginning of June. It all depends on the region, and it all depends on the regional policies which are already in place. So when we look at our data, we see that from out of this 20 to 30%, there are 10% to 20% occupancy rates. The higher occupancy rates are actually because of some hotels who are giving away their rooms for the actually health industry, let's say, employees, doctors, nurses, etc. They are helping the cause, and they are giving some rooms away, or for a very cheaper prices. When you look to the general availability, including all these closed hotels, etc., it's well below 3% globally.
Yeah, and if you look at this data from different perspective, region by region, the ratios are changing, obviously. If you look at Asia, the picture is totally different. We see 40-45% now occupancy rates in some part of Asia. So that's why looking at this data from the global perspective is not reflecting everybody's reality today. So so that's why maybe the answer. So this question should have maybe the multiple answers, region by region. So the Asia is doing very well here, but only Southeast Asia. The rest of the Asia actually hasn't been started to recover, especially if you look at India, for example. They are still struggling. And regarding to Africa, the South Africa has started to somehow recover, but the North Africa, which is the most, let's say, the resultant coast of the African region, they are still waiting for the good news. Morocco and Tunisia, they are still actually waiting for good news for their region. And if you look at Spain, which is one of the most affected leisure area, their occupancy rates are still close to 5-4% in our data.
Wonderful. We're going to talk about Hotel Pulse in a second, but let me just feature some of the questions that our audience are sending to you. First of all, thanks to Dr. Adam Carmer. He's one of our faculty members at the University of South Florida. He's got two questions. I want to ask you, he's asking you, how are the more upscale hotels doing with regard to occupancy rates, and what employees are currently still employed? Thank you, Advance. I know that HotelRunner, usually your clientele is small to medium size hotels, but what can you tell about this based on your data or your own opinion?
Yeah, we are working with both types of accommodations, but 75% of the accommodations are consisting of small, medium-sized businesses. However, they can be luxury hotels as well. So they can be small, medium, but they can be easily an upscale hotels. We are in some geographies. We are working with 5-star hotels or chain hotels or group hotels. If you look at from this angle, if you look at from the upscale but a small, medium-sized business perspective, they will have the upper hand in the post-COVID economy, because most of the travelers are looking for spacious and much more isolated places, and upscale, isolated, small, medium-sized businesses will be actually successful. What we believe, and survey results are also showing this as well. So we are cooperating with many of our partners globally, including Google or some regional partners. They are all making surveys and sharing the results. We are collaboratively exchanging our data, and all surveys are showing that the small, medium-sized, upscale, high-end hotels will be winning in the COVID process, and in the post-COVID economy as well. However, if you are high-end and if you are a big hotel, and if you independent or group hotel, you need to invent business models. So what we are hearing from some big hotel, the professionals or property owners, they're actually spending a lot of time to invent the business model to not to lose the demand, because they know that if they have 500 rooms in their property, they will somehow create a big crowd in their property, which the travelers nowadays will not actually want to stay. So in that case, they are looking for different business models. For example, they are saying, hey, I will not allow, for example, the more than 5 rooms in a flat. If they have, for example, 15 rooms in a flat, what they are saying, I will not allow everybody to go to a restaurant at the same time, or I will put some 48 hours delay between the check-in and check-out.
Between two guests.
Yeah, between two reservations.
Right.
So they are looking for actually new business models, which is very nice, because they have to survive somehow. Even some of them, what we are hearing, they are also considering to shut down the X% of their rooms or properties during the season or during the COVID situation.
Wonderful. Are there anything you want to add to this question? I have many questions.
Of course, there will be many actually expectations from the guests. So the hotels are very keen to implement new measures, and they are also looking for different ways to do business. But however, there will be also a push from the guests. So the guests will expect social distancing. The guests will expect certified, let's say, cleaning. They will expect signs everywhere, reminding us how to be clean, etc. So these will be at least some assurance for the hotels, for the actually guests by the hotels, in order to make them believe that everything is safe and everything is perfect for them, for their, let's say, for their wonderful stay.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I think yes.
Sorry, I would like to also add one more point. The association is also playing key roles here, and
Exactly,
some
yes.
partners as well, to guide everybody to play the same role, to give the same message to the audience. In this case, they are the travelers, because accommodations are their last stop. So before they come to the any accommodation, travelers are also considering to other places as well. For example, they are thinking about the cleaning of maybe airlines, airports, or some stops on their journey. So they are evaluating different things in their mind. So associations or departments are playing key role here. What we believe, to give the same message and to act like a single body in front of the traveler.
Right. And we just answered also Ayşegül Songül's question. What are the precautions they expect to see in the wake of COVID-19 to ease the transition of hospitality consumer back into hotels? So you mentioned, Ali, some of the different strategies that big hotels, small hotels are using, bringing the sanitation into the highlight of the hotel, giving 48 hours or 24 hours in between the guests, reservations, etc. And Emirates Airlines are now doing a COVID testing before you board the plane, things like that. So I want to feature a couple of other questions, and then I want to really talk about Hotel Pulse, because I really think it's a very, very useful tool. Quickly, we had this question in the Turkish version of this webinar. Do you think hotels will have reduced rates once the virus has been contained? Arden, you had an interesting insight based on the data. What do you think about that?
Of course, if we talk about the global data, globally, I can see that the prices are reduced in general. We are looking, of course, to the average daily rates based on our data, and the averages based on all types of hotels, including the resorts and also the single day rentals. So the average price drop is around 10 to 15%. Of course, it's also regional. Again, this is the global average. Regionally, for example, as Ali perfectly mentioned, in Asia, there's a comeback. So the prices are settled and they're balanced and everything is back to normal. But when you look at the US, for example, there is a strong decrease in the prices because there is no demand. When there is no demand, of course, the prices are falling. But our belief is that after the comeback, during the summertime, hopefully, the prices will come back again, and the prices will increase. So there will be a huge demand. There will be guest appetite to make more reservations and stay more, as we will perfectly mention in our HotelRunner Pulse session. This will affect the prices positively, and globally, the travel economy will recover.
So you mentioned the word travel appetite. Travel
Yeah.
appetite, right? People have travel appetite, and
Yeah.
that's going to translate into hopefully a lot of reservations once this situation. Ali, you were saying something about this?
Yeah, maybe it is time to, from the accommodation owner's perspective, or accommodation professionals' perspective, or revenue management perspective, it is time to revisit our financial models as well, because we know our average stay duration. Maybe in normal life it is 2 days or 2.5 days. So you're adjusting your rates by looking at different dynamics, obviously. But one of the inputs that you are taking care is the average stay duration. What we are seeing so far, we see strong increase in the average stay duration. We will be talking about that in the Hotel Pulse. But average stay duration was roughly about 2.3% on average. Now we are talking about 4 days stay durations. And if you have the four days average stay duration, obviously maybe the reduction will not be impacting your general revenue too much. So you need to look at your somehow revenue models and financial models as well. For this year, staying flat will be a big success. So what we are advising here is not to focus to price reductions, to build a new financial model by looking at the new dynamics, new variables, and put some reasonable targets for 2020, which is, for example, staying at flat on a year-on-year basis, which is a great target in this case.
Wonderful, thank you. So I want to. We'll go back to the questions in a second. Looks like we're gonna go over again about for our allotted time. We said 30 minutes, but there's a lot of questions. So I know that HotelRunner company has created what you call Hotel Pulse, right? That's the global, and you have two different versions, one for Turkish market and one for the global market. With your permission, I want to share the screen so that I can show that to our audience. Right now, we have about 50 people who are watching us live, which I thank to every single of them. So HotelRunner, this is your website. And Arden, you told me earlier that if you go to the main website, you see on the top, get the free access to what you call Hotel Pulse. First of all, while this is coming, Ali or Arden, one of you, can you please explain what Hotel Pulse is?
HotelRunner Pulse is our actually new initiative, and this is a gift from HotelRunner to the hospitality industry, actually, or to the travel industry. We have actually created a dashboard and analytic dashboard where all the industry can access our anonymized data for free and make decisions based on this data. As data is global and we have, let's say, more than 38,000 hotels in this data, the data is somehow compatible with other sources as well that we checked, global and, let's say, expensive sources. This is a free one, and everybody can enjoy this. And everybody is also can feel free to contribute to this data by contacting us and helping us to develop this free tool to serve the travel economy. So this is our response to the COVID, and this is our response. This is our actually way of thinking that the data will rule everything, and data is the source of everything. We have the data, and we don't want to keep this to ourselves.
That's why we named this session either Winning in a Turbulent Economy with the Power of Data and Technology. So, Ali, what do we see here? This top 5 online travel. Why did you post top 5 online travel agencies there?
Yeah, because we are constantly having tons of questions through our HotelRunner success team. Our properties are reaching to us through different channels like chat, email, or phone. They're constantly asking the top channels.
Okay.
So we said, hey, if you're curious about the top channels, we are changing and we are updating this on a weekly basis. The last week's top 5 channels globally were these channels. They're alphabetically ordered. So we are not here promoting any channels. There is no promotion. However, we can say each week, depending on the region, some channels are actually jumping into top 5, and some channels are unfortunately going out from top 5.
Wonderful. And so here on the screen, what do we see here? I see a date range. It is currently 13 to 19 April. So you are presenting this data based on the week, 1 week at a time.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly. So we are actually looking at last week's data here.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go over this graphics quickly together. So what do we see here right now? Confirmed gross booking value. Can you please tell us what this graph tells our audience?
We are taking last week as a booking window, and we are comparing it to the previous year's same booking window. For that week's data, when we see 2020 and 2019 together, we see a significant drop in confirmed gross booking value, which is the total, let's say, dollar amount of the reservations made through the HotelRunner platform. The lowest drop is for the global data. The lowest drop is for October, as you can see. So we can clearly say that the economy is about to recover. The travel economy is about to recover after October, based on this data. But as I said before, this is changing on a daily basis, and we are following this in the pulse data on a weekly basis. Next week we can see something else and something different here. But when you base your opinions to this data this week, we can say that October is the time for the global recovery.
So Arden, you are telling us that this is what the travelers, the bookers.
Yeah, that's the guest opinion, actually, guest insight. Right.
So this is
the guests are thinking like
all around the world, 38,000 hotels, 192. Yeah. So again, in the perception of the travelers, that this thing is going to go over after September, October, going to come back. So that's what people believe. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Ali, anything you want to add, or should I go to the next one?
You can go to the next one. So
okay, how about forward-looking confirmed booking volume? So this is now confirmed booking. What does the orange and the blue tell us?
Actually, in this graph, we are clearly seeing the actual trend, today's trend, which is shifted from the last minute booking to the actually booking for the later time frames. If you look at the 2019 data, which is the blue one there, in 2019, in the same booking window, the travelers thought booking for much closer dates, especially for April and May. These are mostly last-minute bookings, as we can see here. But today, in today's scenario, this attitude has changed, and people are mostly booking for July and August timeframes from this actually graph, as we can see.
Wonderful. So again, just like the other one, this is translate the same information to different form, but people have a belief that August might be good, September might be good. So, and also, does this also mean that people are shifting their summer vacation to the fall? Can we say that based on this data?
Yeah, exactly. And as you see here, comparing with the previous data, In the previous data, you saw that there's a demand in terms of number of reservations to the October side. Yeah, so the gross booking value. However, if you look at the confirmed booking value volume perspective, I mean the number of reservations, the demand is starting from July. And we are seeing a clear demand in November and in October, and especially for December as well. We can't say, the people, they are extending their summer season holidays. However, the key point here that we need to understand is the people, they are also planning their winter season holidays, or even we are not putting here, but we know that they are also planning the 2021, the summer season holidays, even Easter holidays. They are planning from today their 2021 holidays. So this is unexpected. So maybe our properties are missing this angle, but they need to also plan the whole 2021 even from today. They need to set their prices. They need to make their product ready on the shelves of travel agencies and on their website.
So Ali, also previously you mentioned about this resort hotels that are usually seasonal. So you see that they also extend their season to match this demand, right? Can you also tell that based on your data?
Exactly. If you look at the data, the travelers are also looking for some November timeframe visits and holidays, and they are constantly searching for the November dates for seasonal hotels. Obviously, some seasonal hotels, they are shutting down their doors at the end of October. They're not welcoming any guests in November. But today we have some resort hotels looking at their data, and they are now at the strategic level considered their their opening dates. And now what we are seeing, there's a demand to actually keep their doors open in the November timeframe as well. So in that case, they are now setting their November timeframe prices, and they're even adding new amenities or facilities. They are trying to change their policy for the November timeframe to not lose the demand.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm going to go to the next graph here, average stay duration. When I look at this, as a person who is looking at the orange that represents 2020 and the blue is 2019, I see that for most part, compared to this week, the last week, is that people are staying approximately, I don't know, of course, I didn't make the math, but it looks like 1 day longer than before compared to last year. What is going on here? Why is that? And then what does this 1 day or whatever the accurate time period means for the hotels and the industry?
Actually, this is the same guest travel appetite. So when you look to the local data, and especially for the let's say coastal areas, much leisure related areas, these extra days are increasing. For example, we were talking about specifically from Turkish data, and in Turkish data we clearly see an uptick of more than 2 days or 1.5 days during the summer season. When we normalize this data for the global, let's say global perspective, this is much less. But at the end of the day, you are right. So we have almost 1 day plus in average stay durations. We are suggesting to hoteliers to actually adjust their expectations based on this average stay duration, and also make some promotions to support this extra day in order to gain much more exposure and get much more guest attention.
Yeah, everybody knows in the industry that even increasing the fraction of the average stay duration is very important. We are not seeing here the increase of fraction. We are seeing here 20-25%, even in some cases, increase in the average stay duration, which is very healthy. And also this data also is telling a lot to the revenue managers as well. They need to revisit their position in terms of promotions, in terms of rates and policies, or in terms of representing their product or pricing their product by looking at the average stay duration. Because when they actually have longer staying visitors in their properties, obviously their also labor costs are going down. So in some cases, especially for the service apartments, daily rentals, and vacation rental businesses, having longer stay durations are very important in terms of labor costs.
Wonderful. This is excellent. And that one day it really translates into a lot of dollars or euros or Turkish lira, whatever that might be. So hopefully for the future, we need this kind of good news. This is canceled gross booking value. What should we read from this graph? Can you please explain to us very briefly?
Well, actually, this graph seems like a negative graph, but when you look to the reality, this is actually a positive sign, because this graph shows the canceled gross booking value, as the name implies, and this is the total canceled reservations value in dollars or in euros, whatever. It has a significant drop throughout the year, almost, let's say, 100% drop. This means that people are not canceling their existing bookings for the near future or for the extended future. People are still waiting some sign of recovery or some news to decide about these reservations that they made before COVID, most probably.
Wonderful.
Yeah. If you look at the previous years in a normal life, the visitors are always looking for better deals for their summer holiday seasons. So we were okay to see some high level of cancellations during the March and April timeframe for the June, July, August reservations, because if visitors find better deals in the region, or better deals or much more affordable deals, let's say, in particular geographies, they were immediately canceling. However, this year is totally different. So they are actually hesitating to cancel their existing reservations to lose at least their existing rooms in the summer holiday. And the news, they are constantly looking at the news, and if they see the positive sign, obviously they are not. They are becoming in a mood of not canceling the reservations.
Wonderful. We have one more graph here, which is also similar, but can you please also tell us briefly forward-looking canceled booking volumes means?
These are the total volume of the canceled bookings in dollars and euros, etc., in every currency in the world. So this graph is also supporting the previous one. If you look at the 2019's data, you can see a balanced distribution of the canceled booking volume. But when you look at the 2020 data, almost half of the canceled bookings are for April, for the, let's say, for a very short term. People are checking what's happening in the world and what is the reality. And then at the last minute, they are deciding to cancel their reservations, or their reservations are canceled by the property if they are closed or if they are not able to serve the guests. So this shows clearly the intention and the actually pulse of the travel industry.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I have some more questions. If you don't mind, I'm going to go get them. Yeah, some of it might be, you may not be able to support your answer with data, but or maybe a personal opinion. Also, Sedan is asking, will there be a luckiest destination in terms of international tourist arrivals after coronavirus situation? Can you speak to this based on the data that you're seeing, at least now?
Yeah, this answer also depends on airlines as well. Because when we start talking about international tourism or international, travel activities, that that industry all depends on the airline industry, obviously. And also the government policies are very important. If you look at some emerging countries who are heavily relying on travel income, they will be most probably welcoming the guests in a much more shorter period of time comparing with the developed market. Right. Especially all Mediterranean coast, including North Africa and Turkey and some part of other countries, they will start welcoming the guests most probably at the end of May. They may not welcome some guests from some developed markets because of that particular countries, the international travel policies. However, they will most probably welcome a lot of guests from the other emerging countries as well. Right. They will have most probably the upper hand.
There is a related question from Gary Colpitz. Let's just take that. Gary is also a faculty member in our university. I thank him for his question. Will the future of travel have different expensive seasons in order to maintain the health and safety of leisure travelers? I think we talked about this a little bit ago with the data from Hotel Pulse, that the seasons, I think expansive seasons, I have a feeling that he's trying to say that if the seasons become even bigger now. I think the answer is yes, right? Based on what we see.
Exactly.
In general, leisure tourism, most probably will be active during the post-COVID duration, and because even most of the travelers, they would like to spend some weekends outside their homes. When we say leisure, obviously we are mostly talking about some holiday season. Let's say travelers. However, the meaning of the leisure tourism will expand itself. So, right. If you look at some countries, we have properties in Romania. By culture, Romanians are mostly willing to spend their weekends at the hotels. By culture, not only because of the COVID. So just assume that all countries today are having the same mood. Maybe in the post-COVID situation, maybe they will want to spend their weekends at the hotels, which are not expected even normal life in today's world.
People are enough of their houses, so there will be changes, obviously.
Thank you. Murat is asking this question. Can we say that guests will prefer short-term, 1-2 day reservation? After that, they extend the booking via the same reservation channel directly to the hotel. For Turkey, a local market, but I guess we can maybe ask that question for the global market as well.
Well, actually, especially for Turkish market, as the average stay durations are higher than usual, let's say 2 days high, let's say 1.5 days high, we believe that this is not the case. People are willing to have extended vacations. Most probably they will be merging their their vacation times, because normally during the summertime people are having some short vacation in June or another one in September and the long one in July or August. So they are splitting their vacation times. But in this case, as we don't have June clearly in our data, and July is somehow there, people are focusing on August, and in August they will be having much longer than expected stays.
Right. Okay. Wonderful. Last few questions, and then we are going to wrap up our session here. I don't know if you can answer this question or not, because you're not really the hotelier. You are the helping the hotels distribute their inventory. But Uamna Show is asking, are some hotel brands expected to recover faster following this pandemic, specifically in the United States? What do you have any opinion about this?
Yeah, not hotel brands, let's say, but we can talk about accommodation types. Isolated accommodations, providing spacious rooms or isolated rooms like daily rentals, vacation rentals, or service apartments, or some high-end properties that we discussed earlier in this webinar. So they will most probably recover faster than others. Even today, if there's a traveler available today in domestic market of United States, they are selecting today this kind of properties. Obviously, we are expecting the same travelers to move this trend to the post-COVID situation. So, and it will not go anywhere during the next 12, 18 months. So what we are expecting, the travelers will select this kind of properties, and obviously, as a result, they will recover faster than others.
Wonderful. You know, you also mentioned earlier that hotels should highlight their sanitation practices, how they clean the rooms, what they do in the kitchen, how the employees are temperature checked, and all that stuff to ease the kind of concerns from the customers. Ayşegül is asking this question. Again, I don't know if you can answer yourself, but maybe some of your hotel clients have done something about this. They're saying that I do understand hotels are planning to open every day. There is a new scientific data coming out as the fierce spread of the virus, let's say, from the air conditioning systems. How will the hotels handle this? What do you think about that?
They have to be proactive, also reactive to all the actually news coming out, and they have to take precautions because the traveler will expect these. So they will have expectations about social distancing, about cleaning, and etc. So the hotels must deliver all these stuff. For example, if needed, you know, they have to clean their air conditions every single day. So this might be expensive. This will be definitely reflected to the prices. This will shake the economy. We clearly see that. Nothing will be the same. But at the end of the day, if that hotel wants to survive, they have to cope with the situation and they have to take the precautions.
Yeah, and the other good thing is that we can advise is using the power of the third-party authority. What we are advising our accommodations in some panels, we are advising them to not to use only their knowledge and their capability in terms of providing some facilities regarding to COVID to their consumers or guests. We are inviting them to make valuable collaboration with other third parties, certified cleaning companies, certified transfer providers who is taking care of, for example, airport transfers seriously in terms of cleaning. They need to revisit their existing partners. They need to think about potential new partnerships as well, just to handle this situation. Well, they don't need to necessarily feel themselves alone in this because there are already a bunch of companies are available who has a deep knowledge about deep cleaning, low-cost deep cleaning, or affordable deep cleaning. They need to find the right local partner to answer this kind of guest expectations.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We are way over our time. It's 53 minutes, just like the previous session that we have done in Turkish language. This also went over, but we had a lot of interested audience members. Obviously, we are recording this session. I'm sure that many hoteliers and travel and tourism professionals will watch this this session. And if they want to contact you, HotelRunner.com, I'm sure that you have a contact section there, right?
Definitely. Yes.
Sure.
So we would like to invite whoever would like to ask more questions. But Ali and Arden, thank you for your support for our university and for our industry. You've been very unselfish with whatever we ask you, you always give it to us. We appreciate it. And also you invested your time in this webinar and the Turkish language webinar. And I know how busy you are, but I really, truly appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate your invitation as well. It was our pleasure to take this time and to share our view with the great audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's always great to hold panels together with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks to all of the people who watch us live and also who are watching us from the recorded version. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe.
Have a great day. Bye.
Very good.